Hey everybody, welcome back to the cottage. Today I'm going to be sharing some decluttering tips that can help you declutter faster. The first tip I have for you is to prepare your mind. You're going to want to reframe the way that you think about decluttering. The word declutter, the definition is to remove any unnecessary items from an untidy or overcrowded place. And so you're looking at maybe a room, maybe a shelf, maybe a countertop, and you're saying, first of all, recognizing that it has too much on it or in it, and then you're going to start the process of deciding what needs to stay and what needs to go. That is a declutter. When we talk about decluttering, we are not talking about cleaning. We're not talking about the washing, the vacuuming, the dusting. Those are all things that can come later down the line, but they will definitely get in your way if you're trying to do a proper and quick declutter. And lastly, as part of preparing your mind, you're going to need to really determine what is fast. What is a fast declutter? Because that's going to look different for different people. If you have a home filled to the brim with years and years of accumulation, this is not going to happen at the snap of a finger. It's going to take you quite a bit of time. And so keep that in mind as you're starting this process. Some people, this will take a lot longer. And just a little side note, if you are the person who is just starting out a decluttering process and you do have those years of accumulation to deal with, do not think that by going into a room and getting rid of everything and starting with a blank slate that you are going to have solved your clutter problem. There is a huge mind aspect to why clutter accumulates, and you really need to be working through those emotions and those thoughts and all of that as part of this process. And so that part will take a little bit longer for you as well. The second tip is to make some rules to help you guide the process. And decluttering is one of those things that can be very subjective, and we want to make it objective. So what are some rules that you can make that can help guide your way? The first one would be to ask yourself a series of questions as you're going through each item. One might be, have I used this in the past year? And if not, if I haven't used it in the past year, I know for sure it's going to be donated, it's going to be out of my space, out of my home. Another question might be, will this item help aid me in my pursuit of my future goals and ideals? Or a question about, does this item have a home? This is a very common problem. Usually if an item doesn't have a place to rest when it's not in use, it becomes that clutter that sits on the countertop. And once clutter is there, it's going to attract more clutter. I think every single home has one. My home has one, an area where clutter attracts clutter, and it just ends up getting out of control a lot faster than other spaces in your house. I'd be curious what your clutter area in your home is. Leave me a comment down below and let me know. Do you have a room or a space in your home that just tends to get the clutter a lot faster? Let me know about it down below. Another rule that you might make that could guide your process would be to set a number limit on a particular category of items. And for example, if you have a bunch of accent pillows throughout your home and you're feeling overwhelmed by that specific category, you could set a number limit of maybe 6 accent pillows. I'm going to keep only 6. And then you'd want to gather all of those pillows into one area so that you could kind of compare and see which are your 6 favorites and which you would like to keep. And that just kind of helps to put a boundary on things. So it's another good rule that can help you. The third tip is to decide once, and this will help you make quicker decisions. Now, of course, if you're looking at doing a faster decluttering, you are going to need to make faster decisions. And that's easier said than done sometimes. And the reason for that is because we attach so many emotions to our things. And during a declutter, you're handling a lot of things. You're gonna hold it up and think to yourself, ask yourself the questions and the rules that we talked about before, and making these decisions. And every item does hold some sort of memory, emotion. You know, maybe you had aspirations of doing something with it. It's a fantasy self type of item. So we need to really, during a decluttering process, remove the emotions from the equation to help set yourself up for success. You need to really just think about these things as what they are, and they are just things, most of them. You've probably heard the phrase, if everything is special, then that means nothing truly is. In your home, you have probably 95% of items that are just things. They are just ordinary everyday things that anybody could have access to. And then you have that 5% that's very special truly to you. And so really think about it in a very generic way. These are just things. And another way to help you make those one decisions and not to overthink things is to always have a garbage bag with you during a decluttering process, so that if you've made that one decision that this is trash, it needs to go into the trash bag, you put it directly into the trash bag and you don't go back through there again. That is your decision, and that decision has been made. Likewise, have a donation bin handy so that if you've made a decision that the item needs to be donated, it's in the box, it's ready to go directly to the donation spot. You don't need to think through it twice. This is just going to really speed up your process. Next, I want you to tackle your declutter one bit at a time. It can be overwhelming for anybody to think about going through their entire home and decluttering every single room, every single flat surface, all at once. And in reality, you're not going to make the best decisions if you're doing it that way. And so, first of all, you need to think about handling a declutter in small chunks of time. I'd recommend no more than 30 minutes in any one session. And that's because, again, we have a lot of thoughts and emotions that are going into this process. You're going to get decision fatigue fairly easily. And if you try to tackle too much, you're going to make poor decisions. Another thing that might be beneficial is to actually tackle only one space at a time. And it doesn't even have to be one full room. If you're just starting out and you're trying to, get those decluttering muscles built up, maybe starting with just one countertop, one area that seems to attract the clutter, and really focus on that one spot and get that clutter free before you move on to another area. And you can imagine if you're thinking about decluttering your entire house and you're going around from room to room, taking a couple things from here and there, you're not going to see much progress. But an entire clean surface or one entire decluttered room, that is going to feel like a major win, and it's going to help you move on with the rest of the spaces. And my fifth and final tip is to have accountability. Again, this process can be very draining, and sometimes we get the mentality that this is my own mess, this is my own clutter, and I need to deal with it all on my own. But in reality, probably your friend down the street is dealing with the same type of emotions. And so finding someone that is going to be going through this with you, or just even holding you accountable, maybe someone that stops into your house once a week and you can share the progress that you've made. This is going to make a world of difference in your decluttering process, and it's going to help you declutter much more quickly because you have that accountability. You know that you have a deadline, or you have a benchmark that you have set that you want to share with somebody else. About a year ago, I tried the minimalism game, and if you haven't heard of that, it's a decluttering challenge that can help you get rid of a ton of items from your home. I don't think I would have been nearly as successful as I was in that process if I had done it on my own. But thankfully, I had accountability. My mom was doing the process with me, and we were able to talk back and forth, share pictures of the things that we were getting rid of, and it really propelled us to do so much more. Each of us decluttered over 500 items from our homes during that month. And I did a video about it, so you can go ahead and check that out right here next as you're leaving. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and I hope that you'll stop by the cottage again really soon.